Hi, good afternoon. Um, I'm not having technical issues, but I can't see my screen all that well. So I just want to make sure that you guys can hear and see me well.
Yes,
Okay, very good. It
thank
doesn't
you.
matter if I don't hear or see myself for as long as you guys can. I didn't bring a presentation per se, just given the amount of time. So I just thought I'd explain a little bit about what we do at CSC and what our volunteer program does, and then I'll take questions, I think, at the very end after everybody. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, it is cutting in and out a little bit there, but we can hear you for the most part.
Okay. If at any point you guys are having a hard time, just raise your hand or let me know. So I am Catherine Saint-Onge. I am the Community Volunteer Coordinator for the Atlantic region. So I take care of volunteers who work with offenders in the community. So I know sometimes people come to me wanting to volunteer with offenders that are incarcerated. Not that it's not possible, and I would be happy to connect you, but my role is to find, recruit, and supervise volunteers that work with our offenders in the community. So we, Correctional Service of Canada, we're a federal government agency, and we work with federal offenders. And by federal offenders, we understand that it's people serving 2 years or more, right? That are released to the community. So probation and parole sometimes can be confused with one another. So parole supervises offenders released to the community. Offenders who would otherwise be serving their sentence in custody are serving a part of their sentence in the community, and they're supervised by us. So they have conditions to follow, curfews to abide by, and a series of conditions. So I was a parole officer for 13 years before I became a volunteer coordinator. So I know a thing or two about what parole officers are looking for in their volunteers. I think that's why, frankly, they gave me this position. So more specifically to PEI, I'll speak to PEI, but it is the same just for everyone who currently goes to UPEI, but perhaps is graduating this year and will be going home to another province or another location. It's a national program. So even if you start the process this year and then next year you find yourself in Alberta or in New Brunswick, you can be transferred because it's a federal government opportunity. So, but I'll speak to specifically to Prince Edward Island. So we currently have no volunteer on PEI, primarily because we are a new program. So I started this program about a year ago. We had a few people last year who tried to become volunteer, and then that didn't work out. So we are recruiting volunteers in PEI, and our volunteers essentially work alongside parole officers. So they help out parole officers with some of the things, and I don't want to say the things that they don't have time to do because that doesn't sound very good, but it almost is that. Parole officers don't have time to do everything and be everywhere, and there's a lot of useful things that volunteers can do, such as helping our offenders put a resume together, help them study for their GED, or attend program with them, help them out with the work assignment sheets. Go for a walk, go for a coffee, help them get IDs, look for an apartment, get a bank account. So those practical tasks that you don't need to be a parole officer, to do that, but that parole officers could use a hand with. This is the type of one-on-one intervention that we're looking for volunteers to do. So because our volunteers work one-on-one with offenders, and I think that's where people need to be aware, and I'm happy to be here to say that, because by email sometimes people get discouraged. It's a process that takes a little bit of time. we have to get our volunteer security cleared, which includes criminal background check, fingerprinting, reference check, training. So if you're looking for a volunteer opportunity for next week, that's not for you. But if you're thinking in the long term, that's something that you could add to your resume, or just to see if the field of corrections is for you, if working with offenders is for you. Sometimes you can study in a field and think, oh yeah, I think I'd like to work with offenders. And then you start working with the population and you realize that maybe this isn't for you, or that it really confirms that it is for you. So volunteering is great for that. And it's really one-on-one interventions that we're looking to do. So we're looking for people that know what our population is. So you have to understand that it is to work one-on-one with federal offenders. And that there is a whole security clearance background check process that comes with that. So it's a security clearance given by the government of Canada. So that is also sometimes something that attracts people, because once you have a security clearance, then you can use it for another job, another volunteer opportunity. So the security clearance we give you is one issued by the government of Canada, and it's good for 10 years, pending that nothing else happens. So yes, it takes time, but I think that if you're in that field of study, they're going to ask you for that security clearance kind of no matter where you go. So it could be helpful. So at the end, and I don't know if there is a group chat on that. I think maybe I see one at the bottom. I can share the email address if you are interested in finding out more. So all emails come to me. I'm the only volunteer coordinator for the Atlantic region. So all emails would come to me. And then if people are interested in either finding out more or applying, you can send an email. I'll make sure it's in the group chat. And I can send you an application form and get the process started that way.